So we've seen the greatness throughout his whole career of Justin Tucker, and now a lot of people believing that he could be the greatest kicker of all time, even against your Jaguars, even though he missed the kick, like he was just short from 69 yards, they tried to win the game. So where do you stand on that? Do you think he could be the greatest kicker of all time if he isn't already?
Yeah, definitely. Him and, Adam Vinatieri are up there at the top of the list. Adam, of course, he's the GOAT. Until Tucker retires, we won't ever know how good he will be, how good he is, or eventually will be, of course. But definitely an incredible kicker. Mechanically, I couldn't do what he does when he kicks the ball, the way he kicks it. But I like his mentality, man. He's talking about that the kicking process just comes, at that point, he's just a mechanical kicker. He kind of understands the same kind of stuff I do, clearly. And I love that fact that he just relies on his mechanics, kicking a million footballs like I did back in the day, of course. And, you develop that trust. And again, it just goes back to that experience thing I just talked about with Trevor Lawrence, is have this experience of kicking a ball the way you do it. And he's gotten really good at his certain mechanics that he does. And again, when you throw the mental side of it in there, I'm telling you, it has a lot to do with how much you trust yourself. I think the guys who struggle more mentally are the ones that don't quite trust what they're doing. When you get to a position where you're so good like Tucker is, and Vinatieri was, clearly, you could tell when he kicked the ball, every kick was the same. It was a very repetitious sort of thing. He didn't try to any harder on game-winning kicks. And again, that's goes down to that mental side and just trusting the form. And the more experience you have with it, just rely on your mechanics to do the work. And again, if you don't have those mechanics, what are you going to trust? What are you going to work on? And not try any harder. That's the biggest thing, because when you get into the playoffs, oh, well, gosh, it's so much different. And no, it's not. Not for me, not for kickers, clearly, but it's the same thing. And, when you're having a game-winning kick in the playoffs, Riley Patterson, our current kicker for the Jaguars, that game-winning kick that he had, people go, how did he do it? What was going through his mind? I don't really know what was going through his mind specifically, but I know what would go through my mind. Like, why would I treat this kick any different than the first kick of the game? It's the same operation. Yeah, the defense is going to come a little harder, but yes, our protection is going to be that much harder because they know that they're going to come and they're going to block better. So everyone's doing their job, a little bit better. But as a kicker, mechanics and the whole operation of a kick itself, there's no reason I would have to try harder to make an important kick. It's 3 points on the board. It just depends on the time of the game. Why would it matter what time of the game, the result of the game, obviously the 3 seconds left, and you make this kick, you win the game. I understand that that's the hardest part about dealing with kicking, game-winning kick is that consequence, whether you're going to make it or not. If you can block that out and just treat it like, dumb down the process, simplify the process, and treat it like every other kick that you've always done, why would you change it up? Why would you have to try harder? Why would you do anything different? You've done the same thing over and over again. Just trust the same thing, and good things will happen.
You mentioned Adam Vinatieri. I think he's the GOAT because he has done it under the most pressure. He's done it in big games. He's won Super Bowls by kicking field goals. We haven't really seen Justin Tucker do that. So I think Vinatieri is the GOAT. But also, Sebastian Janikowski was a great kicker, too. A guy that was drafted in the first round by the Oakland Raiders. And everybody said, how could you draft a kicker in the first round? And you look at Sebastian Janikowski, he had a great career and probably is a Hall of Famer. When you look at Adam Vinatieri, Justin Tucker, and Sebastian Janikowski, what do you see in the difference of the way all three of them kick?
There's a big difference in all three of them. Adam is was very good at doing the same thing over again. Justin Tucker does the same thing over again. The mechanics of both of those guys, Adam he had a little bit of a punch. He didn't quite follow through, but hey, that was his style, and he made kicks. Justin Tucker plants really close to the ball. I could never do that and get away with it, at least. I'd be missing kicks left and right. And I know that Sebastian Janikowski, watching him over his career, athletically, when he was younger, he was just a stud athlete. He's from Jacksonville, and I've seen him firsthand. I've seen him play, pick up basketball and soccer and things like that. And the dude just can do anything he wants. He's just a big guy, incredibly athletic. And early on in his career, he wasn't mechanically very solid, and he was just, walking back at an angle when his lineup, during his lineup. And I noticed towards the end of his career, he changed things and he got a little bit better. His form is getting a little bit better. And I think, when guys get older and they lose a little bit of athletic ability and they're trying to find, ways to maintain their status in the NFL and as a great kicker, when you lose athletic ability and your form starts kind of, going south a little bit, you kind of have to watch out for things and kind of figure things out as you go. And that's really what the definition of a professional is really finding ways to make things, happen, regardless of your athletic ability. Obviously you're getting older and you may not be as strong as you used to be, but I think he made some great adjustments later in his career and started kicking really well. And he had a fabulous career as well, for sure. And strong, really strong. That guy was amazingly strong.